So in baseball, we know that there's a lot of shoulder injuries. Some big buzzwords are a rotator cuff tear or a labrum tear, right? And so, what are those, and why does it pertain to baseball? How do we treat them, and what do we look for so that we can make sure that we do the right treatment? So, first off, let's talk about what they are. So, rotator cuff it's made up of four muscles. The first muscle is supraspinatus, subscapularis, infraspinatus, and the teres minor. It's not really important, but basically those four muscles deepen the shoulder joint and control the shoulder joint and make sure that it can rotate but has some stability in that GH joint or the glenohumeral joint. Now the labrum acts as like a rubber gasket around or to cup and even deepen that shoulder joint a little bit more and make sure it can rotate, but also not separate. So those four muscles, they kind of integrate or feed into or attach to that labrum. And so really, when you have a rotator cuff tear or a labrum tear, they're kind of all one and the same. And so we kind of talk about them together. Essentially, the GH joint or your shoulder joint is like a golf ball sitting on a golf tee, right? So the bone part of it, it's not really that deep. So the rotator cuff and the labrum make this joint a little bit better and allow us to have rapid rotation or be able to throw overhead, have some of that stability, but be dynamic and throw and do things like throwing a baseball. So how do we test or how do we evaluate a shoulder? So we want to make sure that is this actually a tear or is this a muscle control? But if you were to go MRI, 90% of all Major League Baseball players have a labral tear in them. And that comes straight from Dr. James Andrew, the head guy that operates on these Major League Baseball players' shoulders. And what that essentially means is everybody out there is going to have some sort of tear. It's very rare that they don't have a tear of some sort. But what that means is this tear actually the thing that is causing you pain or performance to be diminished? And we want to evaluate and make sure that we're not actually dealing with a shoulder that needs surgery because this is a significant tear, or is this something that we can actually get by with a little bit better muscle control? So we do a series of screens at our office. We do some ortho tests, which just means we are like going in and trying to stress individually those four muscles, trying to find where that pain is coming from. The other thing that we do is we do a scap assist test. So maybe it's because your shoulder blade or the muscles that hold that shoulder blade together are not doing their job. And so all the stress is in that GH joint. Then one major thing that we do is we actually do some functional tests that are related to baseball through On Base U. And the three tests that we use for evaluating a shoulder are the shoulder 90-90 test. So just seeing how much range of motion we actually can get going back and forth. Another one is the windshield wiper test. See how much shared motion we can get through the forearm, the wrist, the elbow, and through the shoulder joint. And then we like to do the forearm 80-80 test, just seeing how much supination and pronation we can get. Once we've found what thing is really making this pain click or our performance to diminish, then we got to go address those findings. We use a lot of needling to address soft tissue. We use adjusting to get after the joints that aren't moving correctly. And then we always tie it in with rehab and make sure everything gets like glued back together, or we hit save on a good document. I love talking about scapular control, scapular stability. And I never believe that we are going to make somebody worse off if we are addressing scapular stability. So it's always part of how we are rehabbing. And a large majority of our athletes get better if we are working on scapular stability. The shoulder joint is unique. It kind of floats over our ribs, and the scapular or the shoulder blade has a bunch of muscles that attach it to the rest of the body. And if we don't address that shoulder blade or that shoulder blade stability, then this GH joint or the shoulder joint gets just eaten up. And we just need to make sure that we address those things. So if you're having shoulder problems, please watch this video. We're going to show some exercises, or give us a call and we'd be glad to try to help you get back on that field or increase that performance.